Hey everyone, welcome back to One-Legged Aviation. I'm back here at Hangar 2030 working on the horizontal stabilizer. I spent the last couple days getting the skeleton prepped, so I got pretty much everything clecoed together, lots of rivets in, so now it's time for putting the skin on. So I'll work on the skin hopefully tonight. Tomorrow I'll get this done, and as soon as I'm done with the skin on the horizontal stabilizer, then I can move on to the elevator and the trim tab. So slowly but surely I'm getting there. So I wanted to take another couple minutes and talk about who I am, how I lost my leg, and why I wanted to start One-Legged Aviation. So when I was up at Zenith at homecoming, I think it was, 2 weeks ago now, I was talking to another social media digital creator, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, even though you're One-Legged Aviation and you're building a Zenith 750 Super Duty, you need to tell your story. You need to make it about the leg. Because, yeah, I am One-Legged Aviation, and I did lose my leg in Iraq. So I guess I got to tell my story a little more about how I lost my leg and kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So when I was deployed to Iraq in 2007, my first deployment, I was on gate guard on the entry control point. The entry control point is, I guess, the main gate on base, and vehicles would come through, and we go down and check their IDs. So on the morning of April 22nd, 2007. I went to go down and check a convoy. As an EOD convoy, they were coming through, and I told one of the vehicles to stop, but he didn't stop, and he kept driving, and there's two big cement barriers on each side of the road with a metal cable going across to stop vehicles from driving forward. And anyway, he kept driving forward and drove over the cable, and next thing I knew, man, I was on the ground. This big cement barrier was on top of me, and it was on top of my left leg. And by the time they pulled me out from under it, my left leg, or my left foot, was severed off. And they had to put a tourniquet on me to save my life that day, or else I could probably bled out. And after they got me out from under the barrier, they took me to the field hospital. And kind of the last thing I remember was them telling me that they're going to have to amputate. And I woke up in the hospital there with my leg amputated below the knee. But by the time they medevaced me out of theater, I went from Iraq to Kuwait to Landstuhl, Germany, and then stateside to the Naval Medical Center in San Diego. But by the time they got me back stateside, just the infection was so bad. I guess it got into the bone, and what was originally kind of like right above the ankle there, they had to keep amputating. So now my leg is right here. Just some bacteria over there, and it just got into my bone, and it was super bad. And unfortunately, they had to take my knee. But I didn't let that stop me. I went through the rehab from 2007 to about 2010, and I know I wanted to keep serving in the Army. I wanted to go back and lead soldiers. I wanted to deploy again, and I wanted to push on. And sometimes I don't like telling my story, because in the past when I have, people that tell me, they're like, oh, I thought it was something cool, like you got blown up or something. So no, I didn't get blown up. It was friendly. I didn't get a Purple Heart. I just lost a leg, which unfortunate accident, I guess. But, I didn't let that define me. I wanted to keep pushing on. And so I did. The Army let me stay in. After rehab, I went back to a TRADOC unit, then I went back to Force Com units. So at first I was training soldiers, then I was back to what I loved doing, working on helicopters, teaching and leading soldiers. And eventually I was like, what? I can deploy again. And, I did. So my first deployment after missing my leg was to Afghanistan with 317 Cav at Hunter Army Airfield. After that, I went to another unit in Fort Carson, Colorado, Space Command. Unfortunately, the Army got rid of the OH-58 Kiowa, so I had to reclass to UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, the RQ-7B Shadow, which I love doing it. I love aviation, and the Shadow is a good platform. It worked for what it needed. There's probably a lot of disagreements there for those of you in the UAS field. So I got stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I did 2 deployments with them there, one with 217 cav, and then another with 326 BEB. So I stayed in the Army. I pushed on. I didn't let losing my leg define me, and I continued on. And in fact, so I wanted to make it a goal to deploy again, which I did. And then my next goal was to complete 20 years. And this April, I retired after 20 years and 2 days. So I made a whole career out of it. I didn't let this stop me. And now that I'm retired, I kind of want to pursue my next dream, something I've loved my entire life, and that's aviation and becoming a pilot. So I grew up at Cairn Park Airport in Northern California, where airplanes would taxi down the street and into their hangar homes. My dad was a pilot. My brother's a pilot. So I just love aviation, and I thought that after I lost my leg, I wouldn't be able to become a pilot. And even though I kind of put it on hold for a little bit, continuing on with my Army career, now that I'm retired, I'm chasing that dream. And that's what One-Legged Aviation is all about. That's what building the Zenith 750 Super Duty is about. And I'm really hoping to inspire people along the way, Just don't give up on your dreams. Keep pushing. If life gives you a setback, just don't let it define you. You got to keep pushing, keep moving forward. And I'm really hoping to inspire through this social media thing and this build, and coming up with videos and content. Man, that's hard. I give you guys who are making videos and social media content, I give you guys major props, because sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes I don't want to film or tell my story. I just rather build. But if I can inspire somebody through telling my story, then I guess that's one of my accomplishments, one of my goals. So anyway, if you guys can do me a favor, give me a like on, subscribe to my YouTube channel at One-Legged Aviation, or on Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok. I'm just trying to start out, trying to expand my social media, and hopefully you guys come along on this journey with me. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you.